Hi, Claudia here from Create with Claudia, and today I'm going to show you a really fun and interesting and very unique way to make a quilt. There really are no rules with this method. It's called the paper bag method. And basically, here's how it works. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice way to use up scraps. It's sort of a way to have no quilting rules, and sometimes I just like to do a quick top and I don't feel like doing a real intricate pattern, cutting a lot of triangles. Of course, you could use this method with triangles as well. It's just sort of I think you'll find it an interesting way to make a quilt. And I'll tell you about the pattern for the top that I'm making today. So anyway, the paper bag method to make a quilt is basically you put all your pieces of the quilt into a bag, or multiple bags, depending on what kind of pattern you're using, and you just blindly, you close your eyes and you pull out fabric and you pair them up. There are no rules. You don't worry about if you don't like something that goes together. I shouldn't say there are no rules. My one rule is that I don't put anything back unless it's the same fabric. I try not to use in the same block the same fabric twice. So today's quilt I'm doing red, white, and blue, and here's just a sampling of some of the strips I've cut. Excuse me. And basically what you do is you cut your strips or your pieces first. So for the quilt I'm making today, this patriotic throw, the ending size is going to be 53 by 63 approximately. And this is made up of 30 blocks. Each block has 3 strips in it, and each strip is cut 11 inches by 4 inches. So this is 11 by 4, and I need 30 of each color wave. So I need 30 blues, 30 whites, and 30 reds. And I use all kinds. I use lights, mediums, and darks, whatever you want. And that's just for this. You could use all greens. Again, you can do whatever you want. I just had a lot of red, white, and blue scraps, and I wanted to use them up. So once you've cut them, you're going to put everything in your paper bag, or whatever bag you have. Just no cheating, you don't want to peek. And you're going to start pulling, and you're going to start, first thing you do is sew strips together, so pairs of strips. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, don't peek, whoops. Let's see, all right, so I got a blue one, and then again, I'm going to pull a different one out. And even though you can't see my face, I'm not peeking. Sometimes they get stuck together, you just gotta pull them out. Ooh, a red, okay. So that's fun, that looks nice together. And then what you're gonna do is put them right sides together. And just even them out, a little bit of fuzz there. And you're gonna sew down the long side. And of course you're gonna use your 1/4 inch seam, scant 1/4 inch seam, like you do with most quilts, most quilt patterns. Sew all the way down. All right, I'll try another one. Do one more. I have some sewn already, but okay. So there's fabric number 1, and let's see the big reveal. A white one this time. Fabric number 2. Some of these longer strips will get wrinkled. They're not that bad. I wouldn't worry about it. They get pressed throughout the process, so. Okay, again, you're going to put right sides together. And that's pretty good. And sew down the long side, 1/4 inch. And there you have your first pair of strips. Each block is going to measure, before it's put into the quilt, 11 by 11. So here's your first set of strips. And I would go ahead and I make all of these first, then I press them open, and then I add the 3rd strip. And I've already done a couple where I've pressed. So here they are. So we'll do these 2, or these 3. And we'll pull, and then we get to pull again and just decide, again, no peeking. And we'll see what we come up with. Oh, another blue. So this is gonna be an all blue block, which I sort of like. Sometimes each one is different. And you're gonna do right sides together. Let's see, not quite. There we go. So down the long side, the long edge. Do one more. I'm not going to sew it for you. You get the idea. So basically pull one more. So this one is all red. So let's see what we come up with this time. Ah, blue one. Okay, interesting. These are all sort of medium weights, but I think that looks really nice together. So anyway, I would sew on this side. You can choose either side. It's completely up to you. And I would sew this one on. This would be the third strip. And I would continue until I got 30 blocks that size. And then you don't need the bag anymore of strips. And then you have these. You have 30 of these blocks, 11 by 11, in various colors. Now to put the quilt together, you need 5 blocks across and 6 blocks down. And that's, so that'll give you that 53 by 63.5 inch approximately finished top, or I'm sorry, not finished top, but a top, quilt top. So what you're gonna do, because this is a rail fence, it's a sort of a traditional pattern. When you sew the rows together, you start with row 1. You're gonna start with, the first block is either gonna be horizontal or vertical, whichever one, and then the next one you're gonna do the opposite way. So you can sort of see a little bit of a pattern developing there. There was one I had done earlier. I try in my rows not to have the same fabric there. You can even use the paper bag method once your blocks are sewn. Throw all your blocks into a bag and pull them out that way. And, just keep the fun going. But this I would try not to do if I had my choice. And you're gonna again sew 5 across and 6 blocks down. This one would look pretty there. You can just sort of play with it a little bit, or again just do it totally randomly like the other ones. And then once that's all sewn together, you sew your rows and then sew all the rows together, you get your throw top. And here it is. And it's, again, a very old-fashioned, it's called a split rail fence, but it's a big one. It's sort of part of a block. You can see this is one block of 11 by 11. And this is a really nice throw, very patriotic, very, it's a lot of fun, and I used up a lot of fabrics. You can see you can use any kind of fabric. For example, this is a Christmas fabric, but it's got a lot of red in it, so I don't mind. This is almost burgundy, but I think it looks fine with this red, white, and blue quilt. There's another look at some of the blocks. This is a blue I normally would never use in this, but I think for this quilt it works, and it sort of gets, surrounded by red, white, and blue. So anyway, that's how you do the bag quilt method. It's sort of like a mystery quilt. It's really a lot of fun. And I have done a lot in the past, and I'll show you a few of those. I used to do them with my daughter when she liked to help me quilt. It was a lot of fun when she was really little, like 4 years old. She would help me pick out fabrics. But here's one you can do a little more traditional pattern. This is the log cabin. It's an autumn color scheme. And this one you could also do doing the bag method. But it's a little more intricate. For this one, you would have to, of course, have a bag for each size strip. And you'd probably want bags for the beige or the off-white, and then the browns. So you'd have a lot of bags for this, but it would work, and it would look really pretty. You can see how scrappy this quilt is. And if you have a lot of scraps like I do, I'm always looking for methods to use them up. This is one of those I was talking about that my daughter helped me with. She would sit on the floor and play with all my fabrics when she was little, and then I decided to come up with this, the paper bag method. I think I'd seen it somewhere many years ago. I don't remember. This is a 9 patch, and you can see the outline of the 9 patch. And basically, I had the blue fabric. I gave her a bag, and I said, pick me out squares. And then that's how this one came to be. So it was completely her choice, and we made a little bit of a game of it years ago. Here's another one. This is an hourglass pattern. Oh, some of these are big. This is a big king size. I many years ago, I just got so tired of my scrap stash that I just decided to do this. I liked the blue, and then I decided to just pull all my scraps, and this was again done with the paper bag method, and just sort of haphazardly sewn together. Nicely sewn, but I didn't choose any color scheme or anything. It just all went together, and this was the hourglass pattern. And lastly was one more that my daughter helped me with, and this is a charm quilt, and in the middle it sort of has I guess it's called a mola that a friend of mine brought back from a trip, and I like it as the center of the quilt, but then I needed something around it, so I decided to do a true charm quilt around the edges, and I gave my daughter the bag. She was about 4 years old, and she just handed me fabric, and that's how it came together. So I hope you give this method a try. It really is lots of fun. It's a fun way to sort of change things up a bit when you're quilting. Here's another look at the top we're making. And it's really, I've said it a million times, it's just a lot of fun. So I hope you give it a try, and I appreciate you watching today. Thanks. Have a great day.